The next experiment is on Thevenin equivalent in AC circuits. So here what we were supposed to do is, you know that Thevenin equivalent means given any circuit, we will need to, across any pair of terminals, we need to find an equivalent resistance or an equivalent impedance and represent the rest of the circuit in the form of voltage, right? So this is the kind of circuit that we gave you in lab. So there is L, C and R, and we said find the Thevenin equivalent across these two terminals AB. Okay? So we know that the equivalent Thevenin circuit would look something like that. It should have an equivalent impedance and VTH, right? And VTH should be what? It should be simply the open circuit voltage. But understand that since we are dealing with alternating currents, right? This is alternating current, we would have phasor representation of all components, be it voltage, be it impedance, be it reactance. We will have phasor representation. That means magnitude, angle, theta. This form of representation where this M, right? This would have to be the RMS value of the quantity that you are measuring. So to understand the basics of this, I would again advise you in the playlist, in fact, in the section of frequency response, I have uploaded a video lecture on basics of phasors. Okay, so how a phasor is made, how a phasor is represented, from where did we come to know that impedance of an inductor should be omega L, or who said that impedance of a capacitor should be 1 upon omega C? From where did these notations come from? Or who said that this has to be, plus 90 degrees and this has to be minus 90 degrees? All these fundamentals are explained in that video lecture. Please refer to the lecture that introduces the basics of element impedances and phasors. Important thing here is that all quantities are in phasors because we are dealing with AC circuits and not DC. So the first step is to measure open circuit voltage, right? Very easy. Just take a multimeter and put its probes here. Right? So the value that you are seeing, what you're seeing on the multimeter is magnitude of VOC, right? RMS value of VOC. The next step would be to compute equivalent resistance. Now, what would you do if this was a normal resistive circuit? You would have shorted this out. If all these components were resistances, what you would do? You would short this out and you will just find the equivalent resistance across these 2 points. So you will say, okay, this is shorted out, right? So you would say, okay, it is just a parallel combination of R and C because this has been shorted. That is how you would have done. That means if this was a resistive circuit, this inductor, this third element placed in this branch would have absolutely no role to play in the equivalent impedance. In such cases, in general, what is the procedure to find equivalent resistance? You will disable the independent sources inside the network. By disabling, we mean reducing the value to 0. So if you have a voltage source, reducing its value to 0 means shorting it, and then you will find the equivalent resistance. Another way, a more general way, which is actually the fundamental way of finding equivalent resistance, is that if you have any network and across these 2 terminals, if I ask you to find, this can have resistances, inductances, capacitances, voltage sources, current sources, right? Across these 2 terminals, if we ask you to find the equivalent resistance, what you would do, if you disabled all these independent sources that are there inside the circuit and you provided a test source, let us call it V test. Because of this V test, some current flows inside this circuit. Right? In that case, the equivalent resistance, let us assume for now it was a purely resistive circuit, for example. Right? In that case, the equivalent resistance would be what? It should be V test upon I test. If there were no independent sources inside the network, then given a test source across these 2 terminals AB and a current that flows, because of this test source, a current flows into this network, then the equivalent resistance of this entire network should be V test upon I test. Right? That means we could represent this as a single resistance. such that I test is the current that flows, right? That would be the meaning of equivalent resistance, right? With the exact same logic, we have to find equivalent impedance in this case, ZTH. How? We disable all the independent sources. Of course, now we have an AC circuit, so everything is in phasors, and we don't have resistances alone. We have inductors, capacitors, and resistors. So what we are going to do? We will disable this source. Disabling this source means shorting this element. So we get rid of both these elements. Okay. And then we are going to attach a test source, a V test, across these two terminals. We'll attach an ammeter here so that we can measure the value of I test. And it is this ratio V test upon I test that should give me at least the magnitude of ZTH, that is the equivalent impedance. Okay, so all those things are explained here in the manual. So first step of measurement of VTH we've done, multimeter in AC mode. We got magnitude VTH, which is the RMS value. Then we also measured magnitude of ZTH by providing a test source and measured test current like this, RNCS, like how we connected before. Ammeter. Now the part is we've calculated mod VTH, we've calculated mod ZTH, how to calculate angle ZTH, because this is also, impedance is a phasor, right? So magnitude we have, but how to find the angle. So to do that, what we do is we need to obtain two parallel equations which we can solve simultaneously. So what we do is, in this condition, in the condition of measuring ZTH, this C and R, which are connected in parallel, together they can be considered as one impedance, like we have shown it in this box. Let us call it R dash plus JX dash. Now, what we are measuring, V test upon I test, we don't know which part of it is reactive and which part of it is capacitive, right? But if we assume that this total impedance, this Z is R dash plus some J X dash, R dash and X dash are unknown right now. Then we bring in another resistor in series, okay, and calculate the new value of V test upon I test. That should be equal to R resultant of R dash plus 150, which is the resistive component, plus X dash whole square. So like this, we obtain equations. Okay, the only unknowns are R dash and X dash in both cases. You can solve it simultaneously. You get R dash and X dash, find the tan inverse, and you have angle ZTH. So this is how you would compute VTH, ZTH, and angle ZTH.